Cello with Catherine, where I talk about all things cello related. Today I'm going to be talking about the things that you will need to get in order to learn the cello. Firstly, the most important one, we need a cello. Start by renting, so don't buy a cello initially. There are lots of music shops where you can go and rent instruments. They vary in price a lot depending on the quality of the instrument and the shop. Stringers is one in London that I recommend. It's £30 a month, which is more than places outside of London. Or alternatively, you could go to Caswell Strings in Oxfordshire, which is £20. When you go to a string shop, they'll be able to size you. So they'll have a look at you, see your height. If you're a parent with a young child, they can look at your child's height and they'll know what size of instrument to give you. The cello and the bow will both come together with the rental. You can also ask if they include rosin. Usually they do, but not always. It's also worth asking if they include insurance in the cost of the rental, and if they do the general maintenance repairs on the instrument. The next thing to check is if there's a minimum amount of time you need to rent the instrument for. So if they say you have to rent it for at least 3 months or 4 months, just to make sure you're not trapped into anything that you didn't realise you were agreeing to. Sometimes payments can also be used to offset buying an instrument in the future. So if you play it and you really like it, some shops can use the money that you've already paid towards an instrument that you buy from that store. So that's also worth looking into. They'll also include a case, so you can carry it outside in the rain and everything will be fine. The second thing that you'll need is a handy yellow duster. So you can buy these from most shops, I think home shops, because they're usually used for cleaning. So even Waitrose, I think, sells them, or grocery shops. And this is important because when you go to learn the bow, you'll get rosin on your instrument. And it's really important that you clean it off regularly. So you can see my cello, the strings, I need to wipe the strings off. That's what you do. And then wipe any off the body of the cello because the wood can actually get stained. But that's something to worry about once you start learning with the bow, but it's something you probably have around the house already, but something worth buying because they're not very expensive and you can always use it for cleaning. Also, you'll be needing a tuner. I actually have quite a fancy one. If I play any of my strings, I can see whether it's in tune. It will give me a red if it's not in tune, or a green when it's in tune. You can also actually just download an app. The next thing you'll need is a chair that's the right height. You'll want to have your feet flat on the floor and then have a slope going down from the top of your legs to your knees. So it'll be just a bit more than 90 degrees, this angle here. If you have a child who's growing, you'll need an adjustable chair, and then you can make it taller and taller as they get bigger. What I'm using actually here, this is an adjustable shower stool. You can get it from Amazon. You can just adjust it quite easily. The really good thing about these is that they don't have a back. So you want to get a chair without a back, especially if it's your child learning and they're quite young, because the tendency is everyone wants to lean back. But actually when you're sitting with your cello, you have to be sitting really tall. The other thing is you want a chair that's stable. It's not going to move around like a swivel chair, for example. You don't want anything to make you uncomfortable when you're playing. This is the kind of spike holder I recommend. You can buy them online. Some of them don't have this string, you just put them on the floor. Those ones are fine, but I find that often they slip. So this is worth paying a bit extra to get one of these with the ropes and the holes, which is why the chair legs are good here as well, because the chair legs go through the holes really easily. And if your child is growing, you might start with both of these loops on the back legs of the chairs, but then as they get taller, you might put one to the front, like I was using, and then if they're really tall and the spike ends up really far away, you can put both loops on the front, like so. I recommend getting a foldable music stand. That way you can transport it easily, put it in your bag. Now what you have to remember with folding and unfolding a music stand, it's all about the top bit. This is the tricky part. So you have to push the two this inner line, you have to push those down, and then let the top bit fold up. Can you see? So these are what we call the long ears. So imagine it's a rabbit. You have the long ears, and they go up, and then you fold them down. So when you go to open your music stand, you have to remember the long ears go up and the short ears stay down, and that's how you open it. Otherwise, if you try it the other way, you try and lift the short and the long ears, then you get stuck and you can't open it. So really important to remember that, so you don't bend your music stand. The rest of it's fairly self-explanatory. You just undo these bits and let that go down, and then do it back up, and then undo, do it up, and then eventually you have a nice folded music stand that you can carry around with you, take in your bag. The final thing you need before you start learning the cello is a teacher. I know a lot of people are learning using online videos these days, and that's very good, but more as help between lessons. The reason is that you could get into a bad habit quite easily. Just something really small, but it can be really important in the long run. There are all these little things that can happen, and if you have an in-person teacher, they can catch them before they become a bad habit that's really difficult to break. Now you know what you need to get to learn the cello. I hope you go ahead and get those things, and I wish you luck in your cello journey.